Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today, as always. We're going to talk about a very important idea from A Course in Miracles today. That's the notion of saving time, a lot of time, as it turns out. And where we find ourselves here in the text of A Course in Miracles is in chapter 18, section 7, which gives us the title of the main idea today. I need do nothing. Nothing. I need do nothing. There is nothing that I actually need to do at all, but sit here and give my entire experience over to the Holy Spirit. Even if it's just for one fraction of a second, that is enough. It's all our inner teacher actually needs. A tiny little slice, however short, of our willingness. That's it. That's really it. We could end this conversation, and in fact, we could end all of these videos after just 2 or 3 minutes, right there. That's why the idea of what the Course refers to as a little willingness is so prominent here. It's huge. The Holy Spirit, as I'm sure you've noticed in your life, does not force. Even though we would love for him to sweep all of our pain and suffering away and instantly enlighten us by waving a magic wand, that's not the way our inner teacher operates. What this means is that we've got to learn our own lessons. Oh, I know. This adult stuff again. Well, yeah, it's how we learn. However, I want you to know you have powerful and tremendous help. Loving, patient, practical, certain, and whole and total guidance available, but for a little willingness. The Holy Spirit is always with you. How can we say this? It's part of our mind. It's always with us. We can choose in the present moment to listen to our inner teacher, or we can do what we've done up to this point a lot and listen to the voice of the ego, the voice of separation, the voice of condemnation, judgment, and blame, and therefore of suffering. Really, we have the choice in the present moment. And until we're willing to be totally present, until we're willing to see no past or no future, until we're willing to see everything as it is right now, without reference to the past, without reference to the future, until we're willing to do that, we're going to continue to sit and spin. So, this willingness that we're talking about here is paramount. So, Let's address right now our frantic, ego clinging mind, our control freak minds. They appear to be separate. They're actually one mind. Let's address this desire to have things other than the way they are. The way they are is, well, it's the way they are. It's truth itself, but it can't be experienced when we're preoccupied with the past. And it cannot also be experienced when we're preoccupied and worrying about the future. It can only be known right now. So the more willing we are to be present, better. The sooner awakening will happen. And we all know that that's true. Yet we run off and we want to complicate this message, which is extremely simple. This course really repeats several very simple messages over and over again in different configurations, in different chapters and sections to hold our wandering attention, of course, and in different words that we all appear to hear differently on any given day. I could say the same thing thousands of times. Gosh, I have, and I will continue to do that. And how you actually hear the message can really, really vary from day to day. But I never know that. And indeed, we never do. None of us ever knows because today could be the day where you get it and this light just comes on. We don't know that. We think here in the world as we attempt to manipulate and order and control everything in our lives, we we think that we have to be doing something. We're incredibly anxious, whether you consider yourself an anxious person or not. We're all incredibly anxious because we actually have to learn to relax and trust the guidance of our inner teacher. To the extent that that now comes naturally to you, that's fantastic. It means you've been listening and it means you've been doing the work, whether it's in this tradition, A Course in Miracles, or any other. This applies to all of spirituality. We're not conditioned to relax and trust. So we must learn to do it, which is why this series of videos stresses the idea and continues to repeat it over and over again. Yeah, we need it quite a lot, right? Quite a lot, as it turns out. So, given this conditioned drive to always be doing something, we lose sight of the fact that really we don't have to do anything. I need do nothing. So, here on the spiritual path, we could go, obviously, any number of possible directions. There are many doors. And we can spend, should we so choose, lots and lots of time, centuries, millennia. I mean, really, thousands and thousands of what we call linear years. We could spend a lot of time preparing for something, preparing for the holy instant where we're in a direct communication with our inner teacher without reference to the physical body at all. We could spend this entire lifetime and then the next and the next, right? What doesn't matter whether you go in for that idea or not, If you don't, no problem. You could spend the rest of the remaining years of this thing preparing for something. So, what's wrong with that picture? Well, nothing on its surface. Here's the deal, though. If you're really to understand this course and to apply it, preparing for something always makes reference to the future. You're preparing for a future event. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. The future's not here. You don't have to spend time preparing for something. You don't have to spend time preparing for heaven when the physical body passes away. You don't have to do that. It's right now. Now. Right now. When else? So we don't have to prepare. We can do it now. In this sense, the course is really designed to save us time. All we have to remember is this sentence. You need do nothing. You can say this. I need do nothing. I need do nothing. Just sit quietly. Can you do that for even a fraction of a second? What goes on in this, even if it's short, a fraction of a second, when we're doing nothing, is huge. We're letting go our impulsive, maniacal desire to orchestrate, manipulate, and control all compound phenomena. How's that working out for us? Well, we might have a lot of money. We might have a lot of friends. We might look good. We might feel strong and fit, hot and sexy. Yeah, you could have a beautiful relationship. Whatever your situation appears to be here in the world, it doesn't last because we're all subject here as we identify with an ego, with a human body. We're all subject to the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows and the vicissitudes of life and all the BS that appears to come directly at us. Well, it's coming from us, not at us. It's taking place in our mind. That's where we're experiencing suffering, all the problems. So that's where the solution belongs, isn't it? In the mind. That's why this course is a course in mind training. And when you say, I need do nothing, and you just sit, let the Holy Spirit run the show. Something very powerful is going on. You're setting the ego aside. You are. You most certainly are. It's this ego, this compulsive voice that wants us to be in command control of all life forms. We're setting it aside, even if it's just for one moment. I need do nothing, nothing. It's a profound experience. If you haven't done it, I invite you to do it. I mean, really do it. Try it. See what happens. That's how we learn the best. That is why this course stresses practical application. It is through our own experience. Spirituality is all about experience, all traditions. But this course makes a particular, well, it makes a particular emphasis on this. It really does stress and emphasize practical application. It's a self-study curriculum. We learn by putting these ideas into practice. Our experience shows us. It demonstrates and proves to us that the ideas that we're talking about here, however weird or bizarre they may appear to be, are in fact true. We show ourselves. So I invite you to show yourself. I need do nothing. I need do nothing. And sit quiet. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. But we'll, of course, return to the world of our jobs and bills and juggling finances. If you're juggling finances, we return to our email account and our overstuffed calendars and all of the things that we occupy our time with here in the world. I mean, we return to that. But here's what happens. If you sit quietly and say, I need do nothing and accept this, when you go back to the world, it's not the same. It's not the same. You don't see it the same way. When you say, I need do nothing, you're disidentifying with the physical body. Do that. Disidentify with it. It's not you. You're not a body. You do know this. And just for good measure, the Course backs that assertion up repeatedly in many places. And we all know that anyway, really, deep down. Whether we choose to accept it or not, well, that's up to us in the present moment. It is, it's up to you. Doing anything involves the body. When you say, I need do nothing, you can identify with who and what you really are, which is not the physical body. Even if you're unaware of the body for a fraction of a second, that's enough. You'll know if this has happened in your experience, that when you go back into the world, you don't see things the same. And because you've allowed the Holy Spirit to enter, what you now have, even as you run out and do life and go to work or pay bills, make dinner, all that stuff that we do all the time, even as you do that, there is a center of calm and peace which you can always access. You've invited the Holy Spirit in to abide. Well, there he's going to abide, and you can access this guidance. The more you listen to it, the more powerful it becomes. The more we learn to relax and trust our inner teacher's guidance, and the more we notice all of what we call here in the world the signs. That's simply what we call them. It's the Holy Spirit speaking to us in many different ways. Our intuition, thoughts, things people say, things we're suddenly clearly directed to do, the more that we recognize, I need do nothing, the clearer what we should do becomes here in the world. You have access to strong, loving, powerful, certain guidance if you'll let it do its thing. It's very, very powerful. And as a practical matter here in the world, it's one of the things that we find so difficult to do. We introduce all of the complications of life into the mind ourselves. We make our own drama. The cool part about that, and what you're invited to consider the uplifting part about that, is you can unmake it. You can choose right now to set it aside. It may seem like the greatest paradox in the world that you need do nothing, but that's only because we've been conditioned to think we have to do everything. How has that worked out for us? Well, I mean, we all know the answer to that. We may have had some beautiful moments, but we're having this conversation because, well, we need it, because we've identified countless times with the ego, seen ourselves as separate and therefore seen our brother as separate when in fact we're one. And we all know this deep down. So, in a very practical sense, the Course is calling us home. We're actually already there and we've never left. Ideas leave not their source, capital S. Mm, yeah. Yet we're having this experience of 8 billion plus separate bodies on a spinning ball of rock that appears to be experiencing one crisis after another, whatever form that may take. We have the ability, and what's really important, what's germane right now, is you have the tools right here at your disposal to disidentify with the ego and awaken. So, what we do is, however this message lands, is however it's going to land. It's a message from the Holy Spirit. What else, right? So, we allow ourselves to be led as far as we're willing or that we feel able to be led on a given day. And then we get up tomorrow and we do it again. The Holy Spirit's guidance is certain. It's certain and it does not fail. It can't. So the more we learn that we need do nothing, just spend a couple of seconds if that's what you can do. It's more than enough. A fraction of a second is quite enough. It's more than enough. It's all the Holy Spirit needs. So will you let him in today to run the show? That's the invitation to you. And I hope that you join me. Yeah. So, along those lines, here in the world, if you have not subscribed to this channel, that's the prompt. So, I hope you join me here as well. Now, what we've got is a growing international community. And thank you to all of you who have recently subscribed. There have been quite a few of you. What you'll get here is A Course in Miracles, which, by the way, doesn't mess around. We say that we want people to get right to the point in the world, don't we? Well, there is no world. Okay, I'm right to the point. That's what the Course says. It says what it says. So that's what we talk about here in this series of videos. And we're currently going through the text of A Course in Miracles, which, by the way, you could open to any page and get, surprise, surprise, exactly the message that you're supposed to get on a given day. So we're going through that a piece at a time. And I'm more than willing to take a pause out of this journey to address any questions that may be coming up for you. Questions are always welcome, and you're welcome to leave them here in the comment thread on YouTube. And if it's something that I think will warrant a video unto itself. In other words, if the answer when I type it out is really, really long, then I'll record a standalone video or two or three or however many it takes to address that issue. This can be a very, very good way to have your questions answered. And also, let me throw this out there, you benefit everybody that watches from all over the world. The community's international, and you never know who needs to hear the answer to a question that you've got too. So I want to invite and encourage those. It's spirituality. after all, deep self inquiry. So questions are most natural. They are, for sure. Okay. So I thank you, as always, for tuning in. And please, again, ask questions if you've got them. And I will talk to all of you very soon.